Nestling beneath the North York moors is the village of Thornton Dale. And for over 30 years, it's been the home of the Mathewsons. A dynasty of dealers with a love of classics.
They just have a personality, there's just something about them.
In all shapes and sizes.
Well, it is the best job ever, really, isn't it?
A passion that can be turned into brass. They auction over 4,000 rare vehicles every year.
Start me on it, we're going to be with it.
Most people will go to a sale with something in mind, but come away with something different.
Some things either got it or it hasn't.
It's what they fall in love with on that day.
There's head of the family, Derek.
What a runner. Smooth as silk, this car.
Trusted lieutenants, sons Paul.
Working with your family, it has its ups and its downs.
God, blimey.
And Dave.
I bet you £1 it doesn't start.
The fun is the chase.
Morning, Mathewsons.
You just don't know what's on the end of the phone, what you're going to find when you open them doors.
Spot on. That's the find of the century. It's the real deal.
Just never really 2 days exactly the same.
This is a family's love affair with motors that have lived a life.
There's a story behind every car in this building.
Testing, testing.
Most people will buy a car because they can relate to it. Maybe a car that Dad had. We're selling dreams.
Right, here we go.
On sale this week.
1982 Morgan Plus 8 owned by Joe Brown.
Joe Brown was a big, big pop star. It's a lovely old thing, a lovely old car. Very, very straight.
It's the best looking sports car ever.
K2 military ambulance, lovely vehicle.
It's a Royal Navy ambulance bought by my grandfather in 1948.
1979 Clinette Roadster.
I mean, look at that. I mean, that's like an aircraft carrier, isn't it? Look at that. It is an extremely good car.
Derek and the family have lived and worked around here for over 30 years.
This is Jim Hudson. Jim's an old friend of mine.
Nice to meet you. See you, mate.
And over that time, he's chatted to literally thousands of people in the local area.
And you, nice to see you, yeah.
Everybody knows Derek. So having experienced this level of fame, he's completely at ease when dealing with actual celebs.
Hello, Phil. It's Derek from Mathewsons Auctions. Just returning. Hiya now. Now then, thanks for your email. Very nice of you.
Phil is Phil Campbell, also known as Wizzo or Lord Axsmith. Phil was Motorhead's lead guitarist. Phil wants to auction a 1979 Clinette Roadster. It's similar to Roy Orbison's Excalibur that recently went under the hammer at Mathewsons.
We've seen pictures of the car. It's very much like Panther, isn't it? J72, that type of thing, isn't it? Big block V8, yeah.
There's also a second curious machine that he's interested in selling.
That'd be the one, I think. Yeah, looks like it.
Motorhead trike.
Motorhead trike, that's it. We've got it. Yep, I got it. Yep, I see. Thanks, Phil. I'll speak to you very soon. Yeah. Good to talk with you. Thanks, Phil. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
One rock star talking to another.
Yeah. I can't play a note. I could play the piano when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I was quite good at it, actually. I should have kept it up. I couldn't read music like it was all done by ear.
The following morning, Derek has made it down to the Cotswolds. Early riser Phil Campbell's Clinette is on board, and his trike is already rocking on up to Thornton Dale. But this is only the start of Derek's day, hobnobbing with the stars. A hero from his youth has also been booked in.
We're off to meet Joe Brown, pop royalty as we know him as, and we're going to pick up his Morgan sports car. Brilliant guitarist and banjo, plays the banjo really well. Joe Brown, in his day, was a big, big pop star. Really looking forward to meeting him.
This is my dream car, this is. It's a Morgan +8. It's got a huge turbo in it, and it's the quickest car I've ever had. And I've had loads of cars, E-types and Aston Martins, and I even have a Lamborghini once, but this is the sports car of all time.
Joe bought the left-hand drive Morgan 4 years ago in America for $63,000.
So when you were in the States, why didn't you have a big V8 muscle car then? What was it about this particular car?
I wanted something English, you know?
This Morgan has been well looked after, and apart from the massive turbo, remains original. But there is one peculiar mod.
And why did you put that on?
So I can get in it. Well, I'm 6 foot, you know, so it's difficult. It's like an acrobatic feat.
And the problem is compounded when it rains.
I can't actually get in it with the hood up. I'm 80 next year. You know, I shouldn't be driving around in one of these.
Morgan has been producing cars in Malvern, Worcestershire since 1909. A wooden tubbed three-wheeler with an impressive power-to-weight ratio was their opening gambit. It wasn't until 1936 that they added another wheel. They called it the 4-4, and it holds the record for the longest production run of the same model. In 1966, Morgan shoehorned a 3.5-litre Rover engine under the bonnet. The +8 was their party trick. Tweed and pipe image on the outside, rocket ship underneath. The formula was so successful, it took them another 34 years to come up with another design. The all-aluminium Aero 8 might have looked a bit weird, but not much could match it for performance.
Hello, mate.
How are you?
All right, mate. How are you?
Nice to see you. Yeah, all right. Yeah, just a job.
There it is.
There it is. Lovely. Yeah, yeah.
It's lovely.
Ah, it's a bonny thing. Yeah.
It's a beast.
It is. Yeah. Well, it'll bark out a bit, wouldn't it?
Just a beautiful drive. 1982. I think it's about 13 or 14,000 on the clock.
Yeah. Low mileage. Yeah. Yeah. Nice colour. Nice looking old car.
Oh,
isn't
it's
it?
a beautiful car.
Yeah. It's all right. I wonder if that tonneau will go on with them up. Yeah, there you go.
Let me take this off.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
So now what do we want to do with it now, then?
We're going to get it on the wagon in a minute.
Who's going to drive it?
You are. I'll watch you on. Come and have a look at this thing here. Just pick this up from a guy, Motorheads. Have you heard of Motorheads? Group Motorheads? Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know who they are, but anyway, yeah.
What is that?
It's a clarinet. Roy Orbison had a similar thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That'll fetch a few quid, won't it?
No, not a lot. Come and have a look, I'll show you. We sold Roy Orbison's one. I think it made about 25 grand, something like that. And
this is beautiful.
I can't imagine this making any more. Yeah, I know.
What do you reckon I'll get for that, then?
I don't know what you'll get. I can only tell you what it's worth.
Well, go on, then.
30 grand.
Do you mean to tell me I could swap that for this?
Yeah, I'd rather have yours, like, but you probably could.
I should be sad. There you go, it's got to go. It's the best looking sports car ever. This is the ultimate for me. Whoever buys this car is going to get great fun out of it.
I'll watch you on, Joe. Get yourself lined up first. That's it. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, come on. A little bit that way. That's it. Straight now. That'll do, yep.
They say you should never meet your heroes, but today, Derek's happy to drive home having made an exception.
I think he's a lovely fella, a cracking lad. He looks just as though I remember him, performing 30, 40 years ago. He ain't changed a bit. Lovely.
Mathewsons auctioned their fair share of vehicles with a purpose. Vehicles kitted out with a job in mind. And today, a cracking example of its type is being prepped for its journey to the garage. On his Lincolnshire farm, Chris Carter is the proud owner of a rather unusual agricultural vehicle.
This is a 1942 Austin K2 military ambulance. It's a Royal Navy ambulance bought by my grandfather in 1948 from a military vehicle disposal sale. He bought it because farmers at that time had very great difficulty in getting any sort of vehicle to haul the men around on. So this was a crew bus really, and was very useful indeed. And it's been in continuous use since 1948. Never been fully restored. It's been repaired lots of times in various ways in its time that we've had it. Oh, 78 years, blimey.
The 13,000 Austin K2 ambulances built during the war at Longbridge were affectionately known as Katies.
Here at the front we've got a nudge bar which were fitted to all of them, so when they were ambulances were stacked on ships or anything like that, they didn't destroy each other in transit.
Chris's love for his very own Royal Navy version has led him to hunt for greater authenticity.
I decided to paint it royal blue as it should have been and put the crosses back on, and then we've been spending the last 20 odd years finding the bell and the stretchers and all the bits and pieces that go with it. But by and large it's a pretty original vehicle. Let's check the oil and the water. Still got the original Royal Navy markings on it. That's the identification mark, which for some reason has never been painted out, and I'm very pleased about that. It's an Austin 3.8 litre 6-cylinder petrol engine. Here we've got a spare wheel, a bit of a pig to do. I'm not going to get it out, but the spare wheel is just behind the driver there, and it drops out of this hatch here. It's designed to make life easier for the sort of person that would drive this, who probably didn't really know how to change a wheel and didn't quite know what to do, with the greatest respect to Her Majesty the Queen, who drove these things. But they're supposed to be easy to use. There's steps here which fold down, and twin doors which fold all the way back. And you've got 4 stretchers. We haven't got 4 stretchers with this vehicle, we've got 2. They go up like that. And the stretchers go in those channels there. I shudder to think how it was like being transported in one of these things, because it was pretty elementary, pretty basic.
The K2 spent the whole war on the south coast, ferrying the wounded from ships to hospital. Chris is the only person to take her on active service overseas.
We have a picture on the side here when we took it to the 75th anniversary of the D-Day landings, and this ambulance is just there. And at 6:30, when the troops landed, a piper played a lament from the top of that caisson there. Incredibly moving. And it's things like that that I shall really miss when this thing goes. But I'm delighted we've made the effort to do so, and I'm incredibly humbled. And if we can somehow help people remember those times and be more appreciative of the efforts of our grandfathers and great-grandfathers, then I think we've done some sort of half a job. Now, these ambulances don't come on the market very often, particularly a Navy one, and there are very few Navy ones in roadworthy condition. I think there are 2 or 3 only in the world. They seem to have changed hands for around 24 to 35,000.
With a top speed of 45 miles per hour and a fairly bumpy ride,
here we go.
Chris has decided to drive it to auction so he can say his last goodbyes.
Today's a bit of a sad day for me because it's been in and around this family farm now for 70 odd years, and I will be very, very sorry, but it's time to move it on to someone else. We've had our fun with it. Let someone else have a crack. I will always retain very fond memories of this thing. I have to say it's only let me down once. Let's hope that continues.
Back at the garage, the two celebrity sports cars are now safely under lock and key. The 1979 Clenay Roadster bears more than a passing resemblance to Roy Orbison's Excalibur that recently went under Derrick's hammer. Both have caused confusion in the office.
So, Ange, Motorhead,
No idea.
Roy Orbison.
I thought it was something to do with Orville, but that's not right. Who had his hand up Orville? Who had his hand up Orville's bum? Wasn't he called Roy somebody? Not Roy Orbison, no.
Roy Orville had his hand up the bum of a puppet.
Keith Harris and Orville the duck.
One of the greatest recording artists ever lived.
And from one icon to another, Joe Brown's 1982 Morgan Plus 8 is getting some love before it's sold.
It's the second time we've cleaned it up. It's British Racing Green. After polishing it, within a couple of days, it looks as though you ain't polished it. And it's a lovely old thing, a lovely old car. Very, very straight. It's the big one, it's the one to have. Obviously, it's with a V8 Rover in it. And a turbo's been fitted. Not mint, there's one or two little imperfections, but not a lot. I mean, you know, there's nothing on it that's crying out to be done. It's a really nice car. The Joe Brown connection is lovely, and I would be very, very pleased to own and proud to buy a car that was owned by Joe Brown, because I'm a fan of his. But it's not the be-all and end-all, really. It's the car and the condition that's the most important to most people, you know. So the ownership doesn't get over the fact that a car's left-hand drive and it's got to be valued a little bit less than a right-hand drive.
59.
59,500.
We may have been through a few changes in recent times, but the classic car business hasn't been on hold.
69.
Just an awful lot of cars to shift, really, with 400 and odd lots.
'82 Morgan Plus 8, owned by Joe Brown. One of this country's pop treasures. Got some bids, start me on it. Where? All right, 20, 20, 2, 4, 6, 26, 26,000, 7, 27, 27, 28, 28,000, 28,000, 28, going then, 28, 28 provisional, 28.
A bit of negotiation followed, but Patrick McDonough from Ireland came in with an offer of 34,500, making him the new owner of the Morgan with added provenance. As for the Clenay, somewhat surprisingly perhaps, Derrick seems to be a fan.
I think this build quality is far in excess of the Excalibur. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's like an aircraft carrier, isn't it? Look at that. Big flat panels, if they haven't been pressed right, built right, it sticks out a mile. And that is as straight as a die, them panels. It is an extremely good car. The interior is mint, detachable hardtop. And it's got all this etched windows. Look, the quarter light, can you see? American, isn't it? It can only do that, couldn't it? Signpost lights. They were very popular in the 50s, and it was designed for the driver just to put his hand out, switch him on, put his hand out and move him on there to pick up the signpost to see where he's going. So the Yanks thought, well, we'll have two. We might as well have two. Level it up, put another one over there. Don't matter about the money. And a great big old V8 in here. You look at this. Oh, there she is, look. I mean, how can you ever wear that engine out?
With its Santa Barbara, California badges, the Clenay screams Americana. However, P.I. Mathewson has been doing some digging.
It's only an MG midget door, you know. There it is. They're obviously spurious door mirrors and that, get them anywhere and that sort of thing. Come and have a look at a midget door. There's one here, look. MG midget door. Exactly it. That is it. So, it's clever, but strange when you think that Alain Clenay, I hope I pronounced that about right, when his concept of building that car, what made him think, I'm going to start with an MG midget? That is just the most weird thing, isn't it, really?
Whatever it's made up of, there's no doubt that for the right buyer, it's the business.
1979 Clenay Roadster. I think you'll find it's number 237, I believe, of 250 produced. Big pop star, this one. Picked it up myself from a secret location of a store. Even though I picked it up, even I don't know where it is. But I was so impressed. You're talking about Bentley build quality on this car. Very exceptional. Start me on it. There you are, in your hands. What's it worth? I've got some bids. Where do you want to be? Where? 15, we're off. 15, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18,000, 18,000, 18. 18,000, are you all done? 18, 19. Let's be fair, it's worth more. Jack's phone, 19,000. 19. You might as well tell the gentleman he's got to find some more money, Jack.
23 grand secured the car, which if it could speak, could probably tell a few motorhead tales. Meanwhile, back at the pronunciation unit...
Clanet. If you've been posh, I think it's a clanet, but we say clanet. Because we're Yorkshire. Yeah. We're Yorkshire.
A quick scan of the Mathewsons garages will usually reveal vehicles from just about any era over the last 100 years. When it comes to the pre-war examples, some say the bottom is starting to drop out of the market, but there is hope.
So, tell me, so what one's this then that you're looking at?
Wolseley Hornet, 1931 I think it is. Nice car.
If you don't mind me saying so, you might be a bit young for a vehicle like this, but it obviously appeals.
Yeah.
What is the appeal?
Made properly.
Today, a very special vehicle is due to arrive here. This one is extremely old, but nobody would ever doubt its historical importance.
Right, I can go around.
Right.
Tin Lizzie, Leaping Lena, Jitney, otherwise known as the Ford Model T. This one from 1915 is owned by Ray and Tracy Knox from Billingham, and they've spent 7 years renovating it.
Basically, got the country moving rather than waiting for horse and carts coming on. The bodies came off when these were not in use for running saws and all sorts from the back axle. You could actually use it as a pickup during the day, lift the body off, put the back body on, just all bolts on for going to church on Sunday. Uniquely made.
As for driving it, there's a wheel and some pedals, but any newcomers might want to check out the instruction manual.
You've basically got advance and retard, which just alters the rate of spark where it's fired at, and a hand throttle, which is used to accelerate, ups, off, downs to go faster. Handbrake, which only operates the back wheels. The handbrake also holds it in selected neutral. Turn the coil box on, whether it's on magneto, to drive it forward. Once it's started, you accelerate, push down to the floor, let it go away. You push the handbrake forward, the pedal retreats all the way into top gear, and you just continue on like that. Got your reverse pedal and a transmission brake. Need to be thinking about what you're doing. If you went to a panic, you could end up actually trying to engage first gear and still going where you'd want to actually stop.
Not the earliest car ever made, but arguably the most influential. To the delight of the masses, the first Model T rolled off its Detroit production line in 1908. 15,000 were sold in the first week. The T in its name was purely alphabetical. Henry Ford had 19 previous cars to his name. It was fitted with a 2.9-litre engine producing the power of 22 horses, giving it a top speed of 45 miles an hour. You could fill it up with petrol, kerosene, or, if you fancied breaking prohibition laws, ethanol. The wheels were wood, the transmission linings were made up of cotton, and the floorboards were nicked from shipping crates. But by 1927, 15 million had been sold.
Now then, Tracy, all right, Ray?
Yeah, we're okay. How was yourself?
Sorry to be a bit elusive.
Well,
we've had a bit to do. Aye, but they're basic old devils, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, man. nightmare to drive, aren't they? Well, I've got a T-Racer, as you know, the same sort of thing, and
yeah,
loads of guys have said to me, it's easy, you push this and shove that and do something else, and they go through it, and I'll be honest, by the time they get to the end of what they're telling me, I forgot the first bit.
You forgot it, yeah.
So
it's easy if you can't drive.
Yeah, it probably is, yeah.
If you can't drive, you'd pick it up better than...
I bet you do, yeah.
Than what they are.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, really. Anyway, I'll get the ramps out and you drive it on then, mate.
It's not driving.
No, right, good.
The one's bottom hose is leaking water like something rotten.
Is it? Right, okay.
There's a battery in, but the terminals aren't the best. You might want to lift the battery out.
Yeah.
Because it only just arrived a while ago, the battery.
Yeah, they're lovely, aren't they? Right. Oh, it's grand, isn't it?
On the other way.
Ah, there she goes. There she goes. Oh,
killed it.
She's nearly away, mate, isn't she?
Fuel's on the other side.
Yeah, she's nearly away. We'll push her on, eh? Okay.
Although Ford opened its Manchester factory in 1911, the paperwork suggests this Model T was made across the pond.
You've got to admire, haven't you? You've got to sort of almost love them. If we can bump up that curve, it'll be good. It's the most famous car in the world. It's got to be, isn't it? I think she's in gear, you know.
Won't go heavy. There you go. Up the curb.
Everyone knows a Model T, don't they? Just absolutely remarkable. I'm afraid they don't do a great deal for me, but there must be something lovely about them because a lot of guys just think they're fantastic, don't they? And good luck to them. Prices all over the place on just about everything, as we know at the moment, but Model Ts, yeah, anything from 10 to 15 grand.
One of the nice things about working at Mathewsons is the repeat business. A while ago, this 1979 BMW R80 was being auctioned on behalf of Roger Malpass and Sue Hugill.
It's got to go, has it?
It has got to go,
Sadly.
yes, because of room mainly, but we absolutely love it because it was our first one.
They swapped it for a Triumph Thunderbird and a bigger sidecar, so their beloved dog Dexter could ride in comfort. Now, Roger is gearing up for another sale.
These are the latest ones that I'm going to put through Mathewsons. Little project for me. I have to have my projects because Sue's theory is keep them in overalls and you know where they are. So that's three quite interesting little bikes. 1981 Suzuki 200 twin. It's something that people relate back to of a certain age, the type of thing that they rode when they were 17, going back in the 80s, 70s and 80s.
Are you of that certain age?
Absolutely, yes.
Next up, a rare barn find, now fit for the road.
This is a little 1950s French moped produced by this family called Goulet.
Engine and pedals, little motor.
Yes, it's almost like the little mobilette engine, but it's not. It's a one-off. Normally, the little mopeds of this era were all centrifugal clutch, which was just an automatic essentially, with a brake either side. But this has got a clutch, so that's quite unusual for this type of thing. As you can see, there's no front brake on it, so I wouldn't like to be going far on it, I don't think, in modern day traffic anyway.
And lastly, the compact Honda NF75 from 1979.
In between a monkey bike and a full-size bike, I think they call it, it's equivalent to the Honda Dax or the Chally. Got that extra 20cc over the 50, so it's got that little bit of extra pull about it. And again, largely original. It's nice to find them like that, I think.
All three bikes are priced to sell.
We put 900 upwards on the little Honda. This one is, we've only got 350 upwards on that. There's no paperwork with it at all. And the little Suzuki is 1500 upwards.
Roger and Sue still have the Triumph and also a Royal Enfield. But Dexter's been upgraded again. This time to a terrier-friendly Fiat 500. Back Back at the garage, the Austin K2 ambulance from 1943 is parked up and ready for Captain Mannering's inspection.
Lovely condition, you know. It's a really nice vehicle. Look at the way that shuts, like a Golf. Look at that. Wonderful, isn't it? British engineering, mate. Can't beat it. I've got a real affection for lightweights, you know, local delivery type stuff, and these old K2s were exactly that. I mean, obviously this is a 4x4 military ambulance, but the chassis and the running gear is the same as any other K2. This particular vehicle, I think it'll prove a very interesting purchase for somebody. The problem is, I'll be honest, they give me the creeps a little bit, to be fair. I'll get a little bit spooky. There's something about them, I don't know what it is, they're just a little bit taboo, really, with a lot of people. So they're difficult to sell. I hope it finds a home. I think we're going to struggle. I personally think it's overvalued. In saying that, I think the vehicle is worth every penny of 20,000 quid, but it won't get it.
£170, are we there? At £170.
In keeping with the wartime spirit of keep calm and carry on.
Fair warning, 170. 170, Jack.
The Pickering showroom's been evacuated, apart from a few Home Guard volunteers on the phones.
Made up of family and friends, and that's how it's always been. There's no science to it. You just ring and you're speaking to someone who's there remotely bidding for you.
The Austin K2 military ambulance, lovely vehicle, totally genuine. It's absolutely
Right, I'm waiting for this one, yeah.
Submit the best bid today. Start me on it. Come on, in your hands, where are we going to be? 10, we're away, 10,000, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13,000, 13, 13, 5. Can I say 14? 13, 5. Are you all done? 13, 5. Can I say 14?
14.
14.
Yeah, you're this bid's with you, sir.
14,000 I shall submit. On my left, going to submit 14,000. Hope it comes for you. Wants to be preserved nicely and, more importantly, taken to France and used.
14 grand, less than the vendor was looking for. Paul's got some negotiating to do.
Good man, thanks for your bid. I've just spoke to the vendor. Sadly, it's not enough. He wants it to start with a 2. All right, but thanks for trying. Take care. Ta-da.
Most vehicles get sold, but not this time. Owner Chris takes the K2 back to Lincolnshire. Some motors just don't want to leave the home front. At the garage in Thornton Dale, one of the oldest cars ever to grace the showroom, the 1915 Model T, has been allocated a nice, cosy corner. Derek is slightly in awe of Henry Ford's penny-pinching philosophy.
You can't underestimate the importance of this vehicle, can you?
No, you can't. No, you can't. Like them or loathe them, you've got to respect them. And I fully respect it. I really do. I mean, you can see why it's called a Tin Lizzie. It's built to fall apart, isn't it? But that's what they were built, the way they were built and mass-produced. And I did read somewhere that there was maybe 3 or 4 days or something from the iron ore coming out to a car rolling out off the production line. It was just mind-blowing. So what a clever chap. And he wouldn't conform, I know, to a petrol pump. And I think he was questioned on this by a journalist or something, and he said, young man, I'm going to sell 15 million of these cars and a petrol pump cost $1. Work it out for yourself.
Park next to it, another best-selling Ford, and one of Derek's all-time favourites, the Cortina.
In my opinion, they're the first family saloon car that was comfortable on high-speed motorway travelling. And I know Vauxhall people would argue against that, but I think they're wrong, really. You know, this 2-litre Cortina would do that trip day in, day out, no effort whatsoever, just cruise along. Side by side, you know, there's a 1915, there's a 1973. You can look where they've gone in 60 years. It's phenomenal, really. Value-wise, I personally believe the vehicle is worth somewhere between £10,000 and £12,000. That's my opinion.
And the Cortina?
But same. And do you know what? If someone said to me, I'm going to give you the money to buy either of these cars, I would think I would buy the T. Simply because I admire and respect the T so much, even though I will have a lifelong love affair with the Cortina. 1915-ish Model T, can't guarantee the mileage. Start me on it, where do we want to be with it? I've got 10 here, £10,000, standing bid, 10,005, 10,005, 10,500, 11,000, 11 with me, standing bid, 11,000, 11,250, 11,250, 11,250 with the cheapest Model T in the world, 11,250.
The lucky bidder, Andrew Finch from Leicestershire. Lucy, a bit perplexed about why he'd want to buy it.
Doesn't really look like a car, does it? I know it's got 4 wheels, but there's not much else to it, is there? No power steering. But this man's obviously happy with his purchase.
So much so, he arrives the next day in Thornton Dale to collect it.
Left hand, yep.
He's definitely reversed a trailer before.
That'll do you there for a sec. Yep, that'll do. That's 11 out of 10 for performance. How are we doing that side, Andy? Right, there at that trailer, okay?
I've learnt a lot about the Model T over the last couple of nights on Google and things like that. Very iconic car, the one that brought cars onto the road, really. Yeah, there was a lot built, but I suppose we're going back over 100 years, so a lot will be scrapped and possibly still in barns and sheds and garages that never see the light of day.
Job's a good one. There you go. Look at that.
Andrew has brought along 2-year-old Victoria to supervise.
That's my daddy.
That's your daddy? So whose car is this? Is this your car? Got another 18 years of that now.
The Model T comes with a couple of rare extras.
Genuine jack from the USA, capacity 3/4 of a ton. It's quite nice, have that with it.
There are also some wing mirrors, probably not suitable for towing a caravan.
I really don't know where you'd go and find a Ford Model T pair of mirrors for them. Can't get them, can you? They're not out there now. And these are the bits that have got lost, so every car will want them. It looks lovely. I don't think it's overdone. I don't like them when they're really bright and shiny. It is in very good condition, but we won't be scared to get in there and go out on a sunny day and drive around.
Looking forward to getting it home.
Meanwhile, over in County Roscommon in Ireland, Patrick McDonough's long-standing quest to find the right Morgan is finally over.
So I'd been searching for years and had little model dinky versions of this car, and it popped up and it had everything I was looking for: the chrome spokes, the British Racing Green, the tan interior. I'd never seen that combination come together before. I wanted the higher performance engine, and I really got more than I desired because it came with the 3.9 litre V8, but also a turbo was fitted. It's very loud. It's a straight Rover V8, just like you'd have in a Land Rover. But given the weight of the car, the performance is spectacular. This could be a real ticket machine if you weren't careful with your accelerator foot.
Patrick is currently adapting to a car that isn't without its quirks.
It is left-hand drive, so for some people that would take a little bit of getting used to driving with your shoulder to the side of the road. So the fuel economy is atrocious. It'll pass anything but a petrol station. About 250 miles would be the maximum range. It's got the stiff chassis that they all do, so if you get a rough Irish country road, the car can bottom out, the exhaust can touch the ground. But it's all part of the experience. It's great driving on open roads. The power is incredible. It was never built to be a practical car. It's a fun vehicle.
As for the other auction news,
The 1981 Suzuki SB20, 2025 fair warning.
The 3 motorbikes used to bankroll Dexter's new ride,
Honda NF75, 1300.
all sold well at the auction.
I don't know how you pronounce that.
900.
But there was also another bike that raised some eyebrows.
I'm not really a trike guy, but for some reason I like this.
Also owned by Motorhead's Phil Campbell, this 1700cc 3-wheeled iron horse was hand-built by Rivarco of Germany in 2016.
Absolutely fantastic. Got electric or vacuum gear change system down here. In the back of there is your amplifier for your guitar. And the artwork, I mean, these guys that do all this are just geniuses, aren't they? Just very, very magnificent in it, really.
There was 3 of these presented, I think, to Motorhead. This is one of them, owned and entered by Phil Campbell of Motorhead. There we are. So you can't ask for much more than that. There we go. So, there we are. So we've got 13,000, 13,500 for the Motorhead trike, 13,500, 14,000, 14,000, 14,500, 15,000. £15,000. Are we there? Are we all done at £15,000? £15,000 provisional. We get an answer as quickly as we can.
The highest bidder was Wayne Jordan from the West Midlands, who upped his bid to the required 20 grand for this curious piece of heavy metal. Paul was keen to celebrate with a victory lap. With no helmet required by law, Paul's free to imagine what it would be like to have the wind in his hair. And he's sold on the trike.
It rides fantastic. I just think it's quirky and different, and it's a fantastic bit of kit.
But surprisingly, new owner Wayne won't be putting many miles on the clock. This one is just for looking at. In his mum's front room.
I was shocked at the size of it. I was horrified, really.
It sits in there nicely, and everyone who comes in are all over it. Even the postman come and took a load of photos of it. You know, he doesn't normally say a word.
Wayne buys and sells a lot of vehicles.
Constantly looking for something different. I like unusual and oddball stuff, will get me more excited. The bike was a Vegas 8-ball. It's very bespoke made. When I saw it as a one-off and how unusual it was, I was literally all over it. I thought, I've got to buy this.
Annie only agreed to it being in the house on the understanding that Wayne would do other home improvements. Most are still waiting to be done.
I was hoping to get the table, the chairs, the kitchen I want.
So when Wayne said we're going to decorate the living room, is this not quite what you had in mind?
No, no. It took me about 3 days to get used to it being here. And now I wouldn't like to see the room without it. I think it's here to stay now.